Good morning, everyone. This is Shane Russell with Suited Marketing. Today I'm going to be talking about how to create a digital signature in 9 easy steps. This video tutorial is actually a continuation of an article I wrote on my blog a few years ago. And just a side note, to find it, go to suitedmarketing.com. You can type in digital signature into the search box and it'll bring up this article. It's really simple to find. However, I do want to talk about it real quick, the steps and how it's going to work when I show you the live part of it. First and foremost, you have to take a picture of your signature on a piece of paper. You definitely want to try the very best that you can to get good lighting to have this background be as white as possible. Obviously, it's gray, but the whiter the better. It's just easier or more consistent, I should say, because the way Photoshop works, um, it won't necessarily read it. I'll show you in just a moment. So you have to save your picture to your computer, open it in Adobe Dreamweaver, just like this image here. Select signature using Magic Wand, which I'm going to show you here in a moment. Right click on the signature and choose layer via cut. Right click on the background and choose delete layer. I'm going to go through all this in just a second. And choose paint bucket and white background, then fill. So that's the one thing that I need to make sure. It's just easier. It's not a requirement. It just makes it a lot easier. You can either have a white background or a transparent background. Um, Once you've filled in all the gaps, there you go. You have your digital signature. Okay, so now that you have uploaded your image to your computer, obviously you've already signed it. You also have opened up Photoshop and opened up the image in Photoshop. The very next step is to extract the signature out of the image. That's how we're going to create our digital signature. The very first way to do that is to come up here and grab the little magic wand. And the magic wand, what that does is it isolates a specific segment of an image, and it uses the lines within the image to create an area that you can cut out or extract out of the picture. So the very next step would be to take the magic wand and just select on any area of the picture, and then you would want to hit the right mouse. Actually, let me tell you why here. Um, See all these little squiggly lines that are here? That means that's what the program is going to cut out of the image. Obviously, there's a lot of overlapping squigglies here, and you can, if you look really closely, you can tell that it's not going to cut out the signature properly. So what you have to do is right-click your mouse. There's multiple options for this, but I just want to show you for the purpose of this demonstration, you have to hit Grow. Now, once you've grown it, you can see how perfectly the squiggly lines are wrapped around the signature as well as the border. That tells you what's going to be extracted. Now, here's the only thing. If I go like right click and layer via cut, it's going to create the signature as a background, and this is just from experience and trial and error, obviously, but you don't want it to be on the background, and the reason why is because it's locked. You have to go through multiple steps. You basically have to do more work, and if you're not super expert at Photoshop, then it's going to be a little confusing. So instead, what we want to do is flip what Photoshop is choosing by right-clicking the mouse, select inverse. That's a mathematical term. It just basically means flip or choose the opposite. So I'm going to select inverse. Now, even though it does look the same, again, this is just from experience, I know that it's going to cut out the signature from the entire image, and I'll show you what's going to happen next. So I'm going to go layer, right click, layer via cut. Now it's back to normal. However, what it did was add a new box here, which is layer and my background. These little eyeballs only let you see what you want to see. And as you can see here, it's pretty darn cut out. The little block pixels means that it's clear in the background, and that's basically what we want. Having a clear background is always the best option, and the only way to keep that clear background is to save it as a PNG file and not a JPEG file, JPG. It's just the way it formats in the computer. If you want it just to do this for now, you can go up and crop your image. This isn't a pertinent step just yet, but just for simplicity's sake, right click, and then I chose crop. So now it's really clean. One thing you might notice is there's a lot of gray in each of these little loops. So anything that's enclosed hasn't been selected by the magic wand because the image cuts off where the borders are. So you have to do the inside of those one by one. And I don't know if you can see this, but let me zoom it in. Right here on this little Y, these little loop-de-loops, I'm going to basically have to keep those alone because once I try to cut them out, it's going to cut into the actual signature part. And since this picture is going to be relatively small, when it's all finished, you won't even notice. But it's easier to do the larger letters and all the gray spots one by one. So I've already done this, and so I'm going to close out this one, and I'm going to pull up my other image. So you can see it obviously looks exactly the same. Actually, that's not the right one. My apologies. Okay, so here's the image. I did this one a little bit different, so it's all going to be the exact same, but as you can see, the background is still there. And the reason why, believe it or not, is because I didn't, oh, actually I did. So I just didn't deselect it, but as you can see, the background now is gone. So it's going to be a clear background. What we need to do is take that magic wand and again, like I said, select on each one of these little gray areas, and you can see the squiggly lines are there. That means it's going to select only that area. Now this is very important, and it's always going to be layer 1. It won't change. You have to make sure that each time you do the cut, which I'm going to do real quick here, layer via cut, and as you can see, it cut out that little area. One very important piece is to make sure that each time you cut out a layer on each step that you take the little eyeball off, because then otherwise you're not going to know. Second to that, you need to make sure that you're choosing the right layer to be cut out, because what the system will do is automatically default to the layer that you just cut out. And if you try to use the magic wand again, it's not going to function. So you take the little eyeball off, go to layer 1. I'm just going to leave the background on because all of my demonstration has the background anyway, so it's not going to hurt anything. I'll just get rid of it later, but let's see. Oops. Okay, so now going back to my picture, you can see how it's going to start to form right here. So next, I'm going to select on this gray area. I'm going to cut it out. Let's see, I just realized I didn't deselect something. So 14, so I want to make sure I have them both off. 14 and 15. I didn't do that when I prepared, I apologize. Magic wand, let's get rid of those. Oop, let me go back here, I'm sorry. Okay, so what you're going to start to see here, even though I didn't do that properly, is you're going to start to see them all cutting out. 17, so 16, 15, 14, 13, I believe. I thought I had it all set, but that's okay. I'm just going to demonstrate here what this is all going to look like as I cut out each layer. Oh, let me make this a little bigger so you can see where they're at. I'm just being very redundant at the moment. So the squiggly line is there. Layer via cut, cut it out. Next one, let's find that squiggly line. It's that little tiny spot in the A right there. Cut that one out. And the nice thing about these little eyeballs is that it really doesn't matter. I can get rid of all of them. I was trying to save time by doing it ahead of time, but that's okay. Okay, so these are all the ones that I've cut out so far. Use the magic wand again. It's in the little Y, and the issue with that is you can do that one, but it's gonna cut into the quality of the the quality of the signature. Alright, so let me get rid of all of the layers that I've already cut out by just choosing the eyeballs. Let me zoom it here. Give me a second. And I'm going to get rid of the background too. There you go. So now that you've cut out all the little gray areas of your digital signature, The next piece of the puzzle is to make sure that the image size is appropriate for using on the computer. I do recommend to save 2 copies, and obviously want to save your work as a project too, but save 2 copies of your digital signature if you do have a large file size. And the reason why is you never know what you're going to want to use this for later down the road. So right now I'm going to go save as, see it's saving it as a project. You have to make sure that you choose a PNG, or you can go up to File, Save for Web. And this is what it's going to look like. Right here on the right hand side, it shows you the file type and all these little extra customization pieces of it. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Obviously, you can tell that it's large by the preview. The preview would be inside the window if it were a small file size. Alright, so I'm going to save this one. I'm going to save it as large. Okay, and now you need to decrease the image size. So you can right click on the little blue box up here, go to image size, choose the size of the dimension that you want the picture to be. You can do by percent or pixels. I would just say using pixels, because you can always increase or decrease the size on the website. You're better off having it a little bit too big than a little bit too small. So you can even use the inches, but I'm going to use pixels because I know approximately what that would mean. I'm going to choose 500 pixels, 200 height, but in reality it's 6.94 width inches and 2.8 tall in inches. Alright, so I'm going to hit OK. And it got really small, but that's only because of the zoom up here. Alright, so 100% is that's about the size it's going to be on your website. It's better to have a little bit larger, like I said. And then just make sure that you save it. File, save as. Oh, let me do File, Save for Web so you can see the difference. Alright, so that's about what it's going to look like. I'm going to save, make sure it's PNG file, which it'll show right there as well. And I'll just name this one small. Alright, so hopefully that works out for you. I'm really excited to hear your success stories and where you're at, so make sure to leave comments and ask questions if there's anything else you want me to go over. This is a digital signature that I created for myself a couple years ago, and I've used it multiple times. It really does come in handy. Okay, now that I've shown you how to create a digital signature in basically 9 easy steps, I walked you through taking the signature from a piece of paper, uploading it to your computer, and extracting the entire signature that you can use on just about anything. And I did this quite a few years ago. It's extremely simple. It just takes a little bit of time and technical knowledge, obviously. But if you ever need help or have questions, please post them as comments on the website. You can post them on YouTube. Just make sure you ask me or let me know if there's any thing that you don't understand or maybe would like a little bit more in-depth explanation of. Either way, we're always here to help. This is Shane Russell with Suited Marketing, and we are a website development company, and we will help you take your current customers and current site visitors all the way through to paying customers. Thank you very much and have a great day.